আমন্ত্রণ জানাচ্ছি আমাদের আজকের কিউআর কোডের এই এপিসোডে। তো আমাদের এই পডকাস্টে আমরা আসলে মানে ইটস এ ভেরি কোনো স্টেডফাস্ট ফরম্যাট না, আমরা ক্যাজুয়ালি এবং খুব ইনফর্মালি আমরা আলাপ করে থাকি ডিফারেন্ট ফ্রেন্ডস অ্যান্ড ওয়েল উইশার্স অফ বাংলাদেশ তাদের সাথে বিভিন্ন সাবজেক্টে আমরা কথা বলে থাকি। লাস্ট উইকে আই ওয়াজ টকিং টু ওয়ান অফ মাই ফ্রেন্ডস হু ইজ এ প্রফেসর at the State University of New York. আর আজকেও আমাদের সাথে জয়েন হচ্ছেন সামওয়ান ভেরি এস্টিমড, আমি ওনাকে পরিচয় করিয়ে দেই। ওনার নাম হচ্ছে প্রফেসর সৈয়দ কেনান ইব্রাহিম বাক। উনি বর্তমানে একাডেমিক ডিরেক্টর অফ প্যারিস বিজনেস স্কুল and at the same time CEO of Kingsley Institute of Management UK তে, এবং উনি অলসো হি ইজ আ ফ্যাকাল্টি মেম্বার অফ বারবেক ইউনিভার্সিটি অফ লন্ডন আর ইউনিভার্সিটি অফ বল্টনেও উনি ফ্যাকাল্টি মেম্বার। এছাড়াও উনি আগেও ইউকে তে আরো কয়েকটি ইউনিভার্সিটিতে পড়িয়েছেন এবং উনি বাংলাদেশ ইউকে অল্টারনেট করে কাজ করেন এবং বাংলাদেশে অনেক বছর উনি এনএসইউ, আইইউবি এবং এআইইউবি তেও পড়িয়েছেন। এক দু সেমেস্টার এখানে পড়াচ্ছেন, অনলাইনে ক্লাস নিচ্ছেন, আবার ইউকে তে যাচ্ছেন। তো আমাদের বাংলাদেশের অনেক স্টুডেন্টস এর সাথে আসলে ওনার পরিচয়। হি ইজ কোয়াইট পপুলার। আমার মনে কয়েক হাজার স্টুডেন্টের ফ্যান বেস আছে কেনান ভাইয়ের। আমাদের আমরা এনএসইউ তে ছিলাম, আমাদের পরের ব্যাচ গুলোতে উনি পড়িয়েছেন। তো সেই জন্য ঠিক ডিরেক্ট টিচার না, বাট ডেফিনেটলি উই রেসপেক্ট হিম আ লট, এন্ড কেনান ভাই বলে ওনাকে আমি ইউজুয়ালি ডেকে থাকি। অ্যান্ড হি অলসো রানস বিজনেস অফ স্টুডেন্ট কনসালটেন্সি, এবং আই থিঙ্ক প্রবাবলি কয়েকশো স্টুডেন্ট বাংলাদেশ থেকে উনি ইউকে তে নিয়েছেন এবং তারা ইউকে তে হায়ার স্টাডিজ ফলো করেছে, অনেকে ইউকে তে কাজ করছেন এখন। তো হিজ হেল্প টু অ্যাকচুয়ালি চেঞ্জ লটস অফ লাইভস এজ ওয়েল। So, Kenan Bhai, I will commence with asking you to say a little bit about how you're feeling to be joining us on this podcast with me today.
Qusheed, thank you very much for inviting me first. Absolutely delighted to be here. And you're such a iconic figure in the education and media world. I mean, I remember your TV programs from a few years back as well. They're so entertaining, and you're such a great talent. And as a compare, as a presenter, and you come. I've always said you look like the Bangladesh is Elvis Presley.
Thank you. Thank you. So honored. So honored.
Yeah. You gave a very big, a long list of obviously the roles I've had and which I'm doing that. Yeah, I have to keep working. You see, I have to still pay pay the loans and the
working never stops. And mashallah, you're also so fit, and you still look as young as us, and I'm sure that you've still got a good 2 or 3 more decades of work ahead of you.
I don't know about that, Qusheed. I'm in my 60s now, so the time does catch up with you as well. Obviously I still keep fit. I still go to the gym and all that. But that's still going well.
So, Kenan bhai, today the topic on which we would like to have this discussion focus on is how do you think the university education standard of Bangladesh can be improved in order to create a better Bangladesh? And as you've been in the teaching profession for so long, you've taught in Bangladesh and you've taught in UK and in France and in other countries as well. So you can actually make a very good comparison. So I wanted to give you the floor and you start the discussion, and I will follow through with questions as we go along.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like you said, Qusheed, I've had my foot on both countries, as you can say. In Bangladesh, I love Bangladesh. I love living there. I loved teaching there, and it is different from the UK. Okay, I've taught in many universities in the UK. You just mentioned 2, but there's quite a few that I've done over the years. And in Bangladesh, I first came to Bangladesh for teaching back in the year 2000. And to be honest, obviously North South University was a very well-known university, and I just by chance I got into NSU, not knowing fully aware, what the quality of the students were. But when I joined NSU, Qusheed, which is just after you, I mean, I think you were just graduating then as well.
Yeah,
Did you graduate in 99? Did you
98.
graduate?
I mean, my
Oh,
convocation was in 99, but we finished courses in 98.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I was a year or two later. Obviously, I
Mhm.
missed you. But one of the first things that struck me at that time was the quality of the students. I mean, I just found it quite incredible that we have these students who not only do they speak English so well, but also they're so intelligent, they're so they were, you can tell that a lot of these students in the next 10 to 20 years will be captains of industry. And so I joined 24 years ago. Okay.
Mhm.
24 years later, these very students are now in, as you know, Qusheed, in
Mhm.
very senior positions, CEOs of companies high up in the banks, carved careers at Grameenphone, and a lot of them abroad. A lot of them have done PhDs. They've come back and they've contributed. They're teaching at universities, back at NSU and all the other Dhaka University, IBA. So the one thing that really struck me in the early days is how well and how well rounded all these students were. Okay, these
Mhm.
young people. And this is what I found so exciting, that Bangladesh has such a great talent, which, to be honest, I never heard of, because I had previously, I was the director of Bradford University in Dubai. So I was based in Dubai. So
Mhm.
it's only when I came to Bangladesh, I actually saw the quality that was there. Okay. And obviously, like any country, there's challenges as well. Bangladesh
Mhm.
has and still has challenges, because we are. I mean, we've taken one of the best universities. If we take, there's so many other universities though, and if you look at obviously, notwithstanding Dhaka University and IBA and Buick and the top ones, but we
Mhm.
have a lot of other public universities that are lagging behind. Okay,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
they're lagging behind because of the quality of the teachers that are there, the quality of the infrastructure. So you can't expect to attract very good students into your institution. And one of the things, I don't know whether you've also noticed this, Qusheed,
Mhm.
is, North South University and
Mhm.
also the other private universities policy,
Mhm.
to be a teacher, to be a lecturer at the
Mhm.
institution, why do you have to have a foreign master's or a PhD? Why? This gets me, because I have found more talented teachers at,
Mhm.
say, who will say IBA graduates, okay,
Mhm.
but also NSU graduates, and
Mhm.
who've never been abroad. I mean, they haven't gone to abroad to get a degree. I mean, to get a
Right.
master. And at the same time, I've seen lecturers coming in who have graduated from China or from India, and got jobs at NSU.
Mhm.
I'm not demeaning them. No way am I demeaning them. I'm just making the issue. But why do they have to have a foreign? And it's like any foreign degree will do, and you're in. Okay,
Mhm.
so that's one of the first observation I made. Why do we
Mhm.
need to do that? Obviously, it's like, the top organizations, they don't care where you come from, what the color of your passport is, but
Mhm.
if you're the best person for that job, okay,
Right.
so the
Exactly.
teaching is so important. And do you know something as well? You'll find this
Mhm.
very surprising. If you collectively looked at the whole Bangladesh public and private universities,
Mhm.
20% only have PhDs. But you know
Right.
something? In the UK now, Qusheed,
Mhm.
they don't look for PhDs in particular, because they've realized that you could be a PhD graduate but not
Mhm.
be the best teacher. Because as a teacher, as a lecturer, what are you doing? You're imparting your knowledge. Okay, so
Mhm.
you could have nowadays what the UK universities are looking for is someone with corporate experience. Okay, so
Right.
I could be working in a big corporate house in one of the top banks, merchant
Mhm.
banks. I could have fantastic finance, business finance experience on a practical
Mhm.
level. Guess what? I could teach that. I could teach that quite well. Okay, so the UK universities are now shifting away from this whole concept of being, oh, you have to be PhD, okay,
Right.
which was before. You're
I,
research intensive, you know.
mhm. I just want to step in over there with a question for you, Kenan Bhai. So, do you think that maybe some of the more traditional societies and traditional countries, one of them being Bangladesh, where the education system is still very much like what it used to be decades ago? So the emphasis is on very lofty academic degrees, like you said, PhD holders and people who are
Mm,
extremely knowledgeable, but a lot of them may not really have the skills that are required for communicating with students and getting their knowledge
mhm,
across. And a lot of times we
yeah,
do find a lot of teachers who are considered to be very great teachers who speak in a very abstract way, who are
yeah,
extremely knowledgeable, but they end up confusing the students. So, what's the
yeah.
benefit of that? What's the point of that? Do you think we need to emphasize or like, how do you intend to teach the teachers on having the right skills for being able to communicate their knowledge to the students? So, how do we end up doing that? How is it done in the UK?
Yeah.
Is
I
it
mean,
done in the UK?
well, in the UK, Cassette, now, it's a
Mhm.
shift. There's a seismic shift away from traditional lecture based learning and teaching. Look, I could teach you, but you
Mhm.
might not learn. You need to get involved. Students need to get involved in presentations. Listen, how many presentations have you done at NSU and afterwards as well? This taught you a lot. You were also a member of ASIC, weren't you? Where you
Yeah.
went to so many countries. And what did that help? You as a young man, 25 years, 26 years ago, you
Mhm.
developed all that, Cassid, because you had a
Exactly.
real big interest. You also joined the debate club in
Oh yeah.
NSU, and you were so successful. You and I remember you were going abroad. You were
Yeah.
developing yourself as a young person, Cassid. I mean, you weren't just bookish. And
Yeah.
listen, you know what? I'm going back to NSU. We had
Mhm.
this student. She had the maximum CGPA,
Yeah.
maximum. Okay,
Mhm.
I'm going to tell you now. She couldn't get a job. She came to
Yeah.
me, goes, sir, okay. And yet we had students with 2.1 CGPA, and they were so talented. You
True.
know, at the end of the day, what are employers looking for? Are they really looking for a first class or CGPA of, highest?
Mhm.
No, they want someone who has been in active learning, okay, who's been involved in group projects, in discussion and problem solving learning case studies, which is very much
Mhm.
practical. And my at the moment in my university, that's what I'm doing. That's what I have to do in order for my students to not only, it's not about me teaching, imparting my knowledge, but it's
Mhm.
them taking part and not. So in England, it's a 3 hour lecture, but the lecture is
Mhm.
only 1 hour. The second hour is like case study development and all this kind of things as well. I mean,
Mhm.
we have to also embrace technology, Kassid, as you
Right.
know. There's so many digital tools and online resources now to enhance
Mhm.
teaching and,
Mhm.
the learning experience. And now,
Mhm.
look, you know what's happening now with AI? It's a game
Mhm. Mhm.
changer. It's a complete game changer, Kassid, now.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
what we as teachers, we as lecturers, what do we have to
Mhm.
do? We have to embrace technology. And listen, when I started teaching, when was it?
Mhm.
1985, 1985 or 84, so many years back. Okay, what did we have? We had the whiteboard. or you can be the blackboard with the chalk. Okay,
Exactly.
so
Exactly.
look, I have to be very adaptive. Otherwise, I couldn't have
Mhm.
got a job as a professor or lecturer if I didn't know how to upload lecture notes on Moodle, or how to use video
Mhm.
technology, or how to use video case studies now, and
Mhm.
discuss it and then
Mhm.
disseminate it as well. Okay, how
Mhm.
many how many graduates are we bringing out every year in Bangladesh, say from
Mhm.
National University? They're
Mhm.
not employable, Kassid. They're not employable. They,
Mhm.
they
Mhm.
they might have the degree, but they don't have the skills, the social skills to, you know,
Yeah.
to get a job. Say with Grameen Phone, say with HSBC Bank. You know,
Mhm.
I remember one of your first jobs was with HSBC Bank as well. You know, they used to take the top
Yes, it was.
talents, didn't they? They used to take the top
You
talents. Yeah.
remember my CV thoroughly.
Oh my God, Cassid, of course I remember your CV. Yeah. I've seen your CV so
Yeah.
many times uploaded. Yeah. Very, very
Well,
impressive. Yeah.
that's true, Kenan bhai. Thank you so much. Kenan bhai, I think you actually came up with some very good points, and I will talk a little bit more about those. But before that, I
Yeah.
have a question about the curriculum itself. Like, for
Mm,
example, most of the university students, they don't have many of the soft skills which are actually required in order to succeed in one's career and in one's life, including things like emotional intelligence, selling skills, problem solving. So,
yes.
why is it that, I mean, these are some of the basic things. I mean, customer service, communication skills, a lot of these things, presentation, many of these things, why are they not uh, taught in the university? Why isn't it integrated into the university curriculum and other life skills as well? I mean, how to take and handle stress, how to
Mm,
manage one's career. A lot of these things are far more important and relevant for one's life and one's career than many of the things that are taught in so much nitty-gritty details. A lot of that doesn't even become applicable in the real life workplace. So, can you explain the reason why our curriculum is lagging behind and how we can upgrade it, and what are the kind of changes we need to make in our curriculum itself?
yeah, absolutely. No, absolutely. Like I said, this is a real big challenge. Okay, to a developing country. I mean, look at Bangladesh. See the growth in the last couple of decades. I mean, just
Mm-hmm,
amazing how it's grown. Obviously, it's market driven by a lot of private institutions as well. But just to give you an example,
mm-hmm,
going back to my very first day at NSU, I was appointed
mm-hmm,
as head of the professional development program. And, I took on this job. The reason why I
mm-hmm,
took the job, I found it, wow, this is a real challenge. And the challenge was this. At the time at NSU, we had the career service, but we didn't have a professional development program department. And this was brought
mm-hmm,
in to exactly what you've just mentioned, Cassid,
mm-hmm,
presentation
mm-hmm,
skills, and also to develop industry academia collaboration, have
mm-hmm,
real life, those who successful entrepreneurs. So we brought
mm-hmm,
entrepreneurs. We brought one of the Chowdhury brothers, one of the owners of Square Group, Rahim Afroz. The
mm-hmm,
successful Bangladesh Bangladesh companies. The reason why, so young students, they can
mm-hmm,
identify that. Look at these
mm-hmm,
Bangladeshis who have succeeded, in developing these very well known, very successful companies. So going back to your question, there has to
mm-hmm,
be more self-skill development for our graduates. Now, I'm doing a project at the moment with
mm-hmm,
the Saudi groups, with a number of Saudi companies, and what they're doing is they're training a lot of young people in AI technology. Okay,
mm-hmm. Yeah.
and after they've completed that, it's very practical. There's no academic content in it, but after that, they're employing these young people
Mm-hmm.
to develop AI systems and working from home. Say you're in Nairanganj or you're in Rangpur or wherever, you're there
Mm-hmm.
developing and working on behalf of the companies, and they're willing to pay very good salaries. But it's also about developing yourself generally as well. And like you said, but there's a lot of graduates that we have that are badly lacking soft
Mm-hmm.
skills, and this is a real big challenge. That
Mm-hmm.
not I would say Bangladesh especially because of the number of young people who are graduating. I mean, it's incredible to think that Bangladesh's population, which is what 1.8 million on an estimation, and yet
No, 180 million.
yeah, 180 million. That's what I said. Sorry, I meant to say 180. Did I say 1.8? Okay, that's the same size as what I'm here in Liverpool now. So it's the same time. No. 180. Can you imagine? 180.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at that, what, 60%? I'm not sure. 60% are below 24. Now, isn't
Yes,
that a
yes,
challenge? Okay, isn't
exactly,
that
exactly.
what kind of challenge have we got in front of us? And listen, for you're not bringing politics into this. A lot of our
Mm-hmm.
universities, the public, there's been
Mm-hmm.
endemic. We've had this it's been politicized and all that. If we're free from all this, young people, we
Mm-hmm.
can churn out wonderful, great graduates who can
Mm-hmm.
contribute to what the economy. They can go abroad and they can come back
Mm-hmm.
again. Okay, not
Exactly,
many are
exactly.
coming back. They're going to America. We have loads of our young talents who are going to America, going to
Mm-hmm.
Britain, going to Canada, Australia. Are they coming
Mm-hmm.
back, Cassie? Only very few percentage are coming
Mm-hmm.
back
Mm-hmm.
and getting jobs and contributing and becoming entrepreneurs. We need more entrepreneurs. But
Mm-hmm.
how does the economy, how do you develop any economy? By entrepreneurship. And some of these young
Mm-hmm.
people have come back and they're making such great inroad, but still it's not enough. It's still such a small percentage of what we've had, you know?
Mm-hmm. Just on that point that you've actually raised about entrepreneurs. See, unfortunately, there are a lot of people, a lot of students who think that there's no point in going into higher studies or taking studies very seriously because either they will be getting into their family businesses or they have some money or they have the confidence that they can start a business of their own. It's very difficult to and of course now there's the startup culture and a lot of people are coming up with ideas and
Yeah,
accessing abnormal amount of funds from abroad and a lot of times not being able to manage that fund properly, for which many of the
yeah,
startups are going belly up. So what is the message that you would like to give to would-be entrepreneurs, people who want to be entrepreneurs, that how is education important even for entrepreneurship? I mean, if you would like to give a message in that line to people
yeah.
who would like to choose entrepreneurship over employment.
No, I mean, obviously, I'm an educator, Cassid. I'll be biased and I'll say, look, you need a degree. Okay. I would, obviously, I think education is so important. It's for you, obviously, it's a great thing to have to be educated as well. See,
Mhm.
I can be, some people can counter argue that Bill Gates was a dropout. They all, the top entrepreneurs have been university dropouts as well. Okay,
Mhm.
they don't have PhDs. A lot of them,
Mhm.
majority don't even have master's degree. Okay,
Mhm.
some of them have completed their bachelor's, but that's about
Mhm.
it. Okay, however,
Mhm.
having a university education, it does teaches you a lot of aspects of discipline, motivation, things that
Mhm. Mhm.
traits that's very important for a young person once they venture onto entrepreneurship. Because you remember,
Mhm.
in entrepreneurship, there's a chance that you're not going to be successful. There's a
Exactly.
the percentage is still very low, Cassid.
Mhm.
Okay,
Mhm.
I mean, and you just fall into it half the time. If you
Mhm.
Mark
Mhm.
Zuckerberg, how did he ever think that his Facebook will be such a $1 billion industry? He just started in the dorms,
Right, exactly.
the students from the dorms. Michael Dell from Dell Computers, he started from a garage. He thought he's only selling. He said, "Oh, I'm making so much money here in the local community." But look at him. He's become such a global. The Dell computer is, and look at Apple. So you can go back into history. Okay, you can go back into and cite so many examples, so much success. But you know what? What about those who have failed?
Oh yes, of course.
There's millions and billions who have failed as well. But what's stopping the next Bill Gates or next Michael Dell coming from Bangladesh? A big global icon from Bangladesh.
Exactly.
What's
No, I
stopping?
mean, I personally believe that. You may not go for masters and PhD, but I think a bachelor's is. It does provide a lot of the things that you said. Skill, working together in a team, and it teaches a lot of other things beyond just exactly the content of
Exactly.
the course
Exactly.
material. But
Yeah.
that's the point that I was actually trying to make. That should we not be having more of the content designed for real life challenges? I mean, it's probably a lot more important for people to know how to fill up tax forms and how to, face um, a bank when applying for a business loan, rather than sometimes just remembering very complex formulas of statistics
Yeah.
and all of
Exactly.
that. Because not everybody is going to become maybe a specialized financial accountant. So, I
Yeah.
mean, do you think that there is the time has come to significantly modify the curriculum, and should we be having dialogue with the University Grants Commission and with the people who are actually in charge of making all this curriculum? Why have we not been doing that? Everybody talks about it, but why isn't it happening?
You know what, because you bring out such a very good topical point. That's even in the UK now. In the UK now, a lot of the university curriculum are being radically revised. Okay, and like you said, can you go back to business finance? I can. Back in 1981 or 1980, when I was at university, the M&M model and all the academic models.
Uh-huh.
What good has that done me? And obviously, it's given me some knowledge. But if
Mhm.
I knew how to do a balance sheet and do my
Uh-huh.
own accounts, and how do you really open a business account? How do you apply for business grants,
Mhm.
entrepreneurship grants? I think that would have been so much more useful. Okay. And
Mhm.
yes,
Mhm.
universities, what they do, they have a lot of these clubs and societies. Okay. I
Uh-huh.
mean, just to give you an example, there was a debating club, but it
Mhm.
wasn't a prerequisite that you had to join. You
No.
joined it because you had a real interest in
Yeah.
debating. And
Yeah.
you became so good at debating uh, through that particular club. Okay,
Yeah.
that
So
particular
that's a
club.
point. That's a point that I want to take. That a lot of universities don't have these clubs, and they don't encourage these clubs as well. So, do you think that's a message that needs to go out to all the universities to develop the extracurricular activities to a much greater extent?
Absolutely. And what you have to do, you're absolutely right. You know what the extra, but you've got to encourage more students to go. So I'll give you
Yeah.
an example. In the debating club, how say 5% of the students actually join, or not even that,
Not
maybe
even that. Not even
2%.
that.
Yeah,
We just had
exactly.
maybe 50
Yeah,
members at that time. Now probably they've got 100 or 200 in a
yeah,
university that has 30,000 students now at
yeah.
NSU. So yeah, I mean a lot of and I think the problem is also with the parents as well. They don't really like their kids getting into all these clubs.
No,
It's only if they become very successful through some club activity and their photographs come in the newspapers, then they will be very happy
no,
with their
because
kids.
no, but that's
Most of the
because
time they're
Kaz,
not.
that's because Kaz, they think it's going to be a distraction from getting there. See, to them, to the parents, I can understand that CGPA is so
Mhm,
important. Okay,
mhm, mhm.
absolutely imperative. Make sure that you get a very high score on. Forget the football club, but you know what? The soccer club, the cricket club. Do you know how much skills you develop in
Yeah, of course.
teamwork, um, building teams, leadership by becoming captain or vice captain? You know, these no textbook can really, you know, translate that into a real practical, you know, where it gives you that experience. Have a look. Okay, have a look at those students who've gone to the soccer club. The soccer club during my time at Liverpool University, I developed team building skills only through the football club. Okay, so you know, you're going back to that question about what can be done. You've got to make the curriculum a lot more flexible and allow students, you know, these are young people who are going to university and they're developing it to explore diverse fields and develop themselves in a broader skill set. That's what they've got to do. Okay, and this is what will make them an all-rounded and get them the practical experience.
Yeah, and I think there's also another point I want to talk about. A lot of universities, and I mean, a lot of especially the public universities, there is a tendency of glorifying extreme pressure. So, like some of the engineering universities, also, I mean, even in the private universities, the top ones, they take a lot of pride in squeezing the life out of their kids. And like, I mean, there are some universities in India, like IIT and all of that, like they take pride in the fact that students study 20 hours in a day. So why? And a lot of people commit suicide. A lot of people, I mean, it's just completely dysfunctional. And ultimately, this is not at all contributing to the productivity of the nations as a whole. So how do we change the mindset of the university administrations? How do we change the mindset of the teachers and also the parents? Everybody thinks that giving pressure on the students is the best thing to do. So how do we make them see that world has changed? How do we make them see the light?
Absolutely. I mean, to be honest, Qusheed, if Bangladesh at the grassroots level, and like you said, that includes a collective effort by the teachers, by the parents. You can say by the previous generation. We've got the Generation Z now. Do you know this new generation? We're the baby boomers from 1958 to 1962. These now are the Generation Z. They are so much tech savvy. They're much more aware of global issues. Okay. Now, in our day, we didn't have all this YouTube and social media marketing. They're a lot more aware of the world as we can see it. There's more of a real global perspective. And you know, I have seen young kids in Bangladesh from a middle class family who, you know what, they've developed English so well with an American accent. Do you know how? By watching YouTube and American films and American programs, they took, hey man, how you doing? You know, I said, my God, did you live in New York? Because they've actually developed all that. So this younger generation, they're more aware of the global world and how it's changing. And, you know, as you can see, they're so comfortable with phones and, you know, with technology, which our generation, we're not. We're sort of still this tech phobia that we have as well. Okay.
That just brings me to another very important question, and we're drawing to the end of our conversation. We'll maybe have another 2 or 3 questions, and then we'll wrap up. But this is a very important question that, I'm deriving from what you just said. I've spoken to a lot of students, and they say that one of the problems they face with their teachers is that their teachers are still very backdated, and they are not tech savvy, and they feel very intimidated by the students because they are tech savvy. And students, in many cases, they do research using all these technology, and they come up with a lot of different information that even the teacher does not have, and then the teacher actually gets very agitated and gets very vindictive against them. this has become a very common phenomena in most of the education institutions. I've actually been told that by a lot of young people. So how do you think we can remedy that? How do you think we can upgrade the teaching population to become a lot more tech savvy and, I mean, a lot more capable of handling students and not getting intimidated by them?
Well, to be honest, Qusheed, if these teachers do not go, learn more about AI and how it can be so useful for the
Mm-hmm.
student and for the teacher itself. Obviously,
Mm-hmm.
we're not saying, oh, just put an assignment in and that Chat GPT. Let's face it, and let's face reality. Chat
Mm-hmm.
GPT can do anything now. They can write the
Yeah.
whole. They can write your whole assignment. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
However, as a role that I have, I've got to make sure that the students are learning and they're not just using and regurgitating all the same information. But
Mm-hmm.
if we to go back, you're absolutely right. There's a huge gap now between the new generation and the teachers that are they know more than the teachers. And like you said, the teachers will get intimidated. Okay. So what we really have to do is this
Mm-hmm.
continuous professional development of teachers. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
they have to update their knowledge. I mean, like I said to you, I'm in my 60s now, Cass. Do you
Mm-hmm.
think I could have been a dinosaur? But I know if I want to still continue with my job until I'm 70 or 75, I
Mm-hmm.
have to make sure I'm upgraded in every single way, not just by my knowledge and my teaching skills, but
Mm-hmm.
also how do I make lessons more exciting? How do I make it more engaging? How do I make it where students are absolutely delighted from what they hear and what they're learning from their teachers? They get inspired. Remember, teachers, as you know, you've had some fantastic teachers, and you've also inspired in your training programs over the
Mm-hmm.
years, Kasid. You've
Thank
inspired,
you.
a lot of, all the garments factories you've been working and that you've changed and you've turned them around and you've used their HR field as well. What have you done? It's same. Teachers, trainers, same. We're in the same type of field as well.
True, true, true.
What are we doing? What's the bottom line? Imparting knowledge. That's what we're
Exactly.
doing.
Exactly.
Okay. And yes, in Bangladesh as well, some of the teachers I look at and I listen to them and I think, oh my God, are they really teaching like this?
True,
Use a
true.
book in front of them, right? Today I'm going to talk about the foreign models, and this is, and the same monotonous voice. It puts you
True,
to sleep.
true, true,
I'd
true.
rather not name any names, but me and you know. A few-
All the people, I think we know who we are talking about.
yeah, that's right.
Anyway, just probably the last question, or maybe the second last question, quickly. So how do we? So we need to teach the teachers and upgrade them. And so, can we? Do you suggest that we have more teacher training institutes which are more equipped to be able to upgrade the teachers? That's one part of the question. And second is, how do we train the students to not just take the shortcut, the short way out by just using AI and not just using AI and not really studying. They still need to learn. How do we encourage them, or how do we make them? What's the technique of making them learn in spite of having AI at their fingertips? So, just two prongs to the question.
Yeah, I mean, you just mentioned in the beginning about teacher training institutes. I mean,
Yeah.
yes, you can have them, okay, but I think the onus lies with each university. I mean, think about it, Kassid. How many universities do we have? Is it 100? We must
About
in Bangladesh,
more than 100 now.
more than 100. Can you imagine? More than
Mhm.
100, and some of
And
them
more
are.
than 600 colleges. More than 600 colleges.
They look at that. Just look at that. So isn't that also a great challenge and something that we should take? So I think the onus lies with each university.
Mhm.
I know some university, but even Dhaka University, there is obviously they've got some brilliant professors. Having said that, But
course.
the teachers, they have to adapt more active learning strategies. The onus is on the teachers, not the students. Okay,
Mhm.
yeah, because students will always take the shortcut. Gasset,
Mhm.
they will, and now it's a challenge for us here in the UK. How do
Mhm.
we stop? How do we stop the students, the university, from using ChatGPT? But now there's all these softwares available that can then detect. So when they upload their assignment, they now know that we've got an
Mhm.
AI detector. Okay. And in the AI detector, it can tell you, right, it's been copied 80%. But what are we doing now? We are now interviewing the students. They're
Ah.
saying, so why did you choose Toyota car company? What was your
Yeah.
rationale behind it? Okay, can you just summarize the marketing strategy? So we catch them out like that. So
Yes.
they must read it. Now, your second, so teachers have got to be a lot more adaptive, and they've got to know that they've got to be really hands-on when it comes to
Mhm. Mhm.
engaging students. And one of the key things is what? Enhance critical thinking. That's what it is.
Exactly.
Critical thinking is a real focus. Now, the students themselves, obviously, in a class of 30,
Mhm.
you're going to get some students that aren't going to be interested, no matter how much you instill in them good practice and make the lesson interesting. You're going to find a handful still being, distracted as well. That's the key, getting these distracted students involved. How do you do this, Kased?
Mhm.
By engaging. Again, it's not
Mhm.
just giving a PowerPoint slide at the back, okay, and going through the
Right.
PowerPoint slides. Really
Mhm.
get them engaged and call their names. Akbar, tell me, what do you think?
Mhm.
Don't put them on the spot, but very slowly bring them in to the discussion, to the case study discussion.
Making them interested and making them see that their future improves by being a part of the whole process. I think that's
Well,
the key.
I think
We-
that you've just summed it up there, Kassid.
So,
Yeah.
any final remarks? Because we are almost out of time. We'll finish in the 45th minute. So we are at 42. So if there's if you could sum it up in 1 minute, some recommendations for the universities and the students of universities from your side, and then I'll make a quick sum up of the discussion that we had.
Yeah, no, it was a very wide, quite widespread discussion that we did. It's a
Mm.
topic that could go on for hours, Kassid,
True,
as
true,
you know.
true.
But Bangladesh, we've got fantastic talent. We really have. We've got some fantastic universities. Okay,
Mhm.
we're going up in the global ranking, and what we need to do, we need to get our teachers to be a lot more engaging, a lot more interesting, a lot more knowledgeable, a lot more tech savvy. And
Mhm.
we have to get them to really motivate our young students as well. And the
Mhm. Mhm.
students themselves who have said the Generation X, this generation, they know a lot. Their knowledge is fantastic. However, they also need skills of, people, personal skills. They need to develop their presentation skills, their team
Mhm.
building skills. They need to get involved in extracurricular activities to learn all this. Because, like I said to you, the future is theirs. It's their future. In 30, 40 years, in 40 years, I won't be around, Cassid, unless I'm
Mhm.
120. Okay, I'll be 120 then or something. No, I'll be 100 years old. I doubt I'll survive in 40 years. But the world that I lived in 60
Uh-huh.
years ago, I don't remember when I was a baby, but I remember England back at 50 years ago. I mean,
Yeah,
it
of
was a
course.
totally different place, different
True,
era. And even
true.
at that time, it was East Pakistan. When I came to visit, it was a totally
Yeah,
different place. Okay.
true, true.
So now, real challenges. And, it is a big challenge. And it's something that we're all responsible for, Kassid. We're all
Mhm. Mhm.
responsible. Okay.
Thank you. So basically, to sum up the discussion before we say our goodbyes, I would just like to point out that the things that we mainly talked about today is that we need to improve the systems, the whole education system. That includes the policies that we have. We need to work on the curriculum. We need to improve the attitudes of the students as well as the teachers, and we definitely need to work on the skills of the faculty members. And we need to make the whole education system, the whole education experience a lot more interesting and engaging for the students. And one of the very important things that you said is about the 60% of our population being under 24 is most of the time being always cited as a great opportunity and a population dividend. But I think you made a brilliant point by saying that it is also an enormous challenge for the whole nation, because unless and until this whole group is properly educated, properly motivated, and properly channelized, that instead of actually becoming a very big dividend, this could actually become a burden and a loss. And I think you've also mentioned something very important in the discussion, that we also need to have the students focus more on developing themselves rather than getting distracted. And that also includes becoming needlessly involved in politics inside the campus. They can have a political opinion outside the campus, but we cannot allow disruptive activities in the campuses. And we definitely need to improve the campus infrastructure and also the overall quality of the universities. So I think that sums up the discussion that we had.
That's it. I couldn't have put it better than myself, the summary. That was excellent. Yeah. In fact, you could have just said that in 2 minutes rather than having me on for 46 minutes. Okay.
So this is actually, I guess this comes from debating. This comes from debating.
It does come from debate. Yeah, your skills are still, oh my God, you've got fantastic skills there, Qusheed. Yeah.
So thank you so much, Kenan bhai, for joining us. And everyone in Bangladesh is a lot of students, thousands of students who've been your students. They love you for the way that you teach, and we would definitely want more and more teachers to be more innovative, and they can be even inspired by you. So you can also contribute in the teachers training side of things as well. So thanking you for
maybe I'll come and see you in Bangladesh next month sometime. Okay, we'll talk about that further. Okay, guys, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Rana Bhai, for your technical know-how and how to put all this together. Okay.
Thank you, Rana Bhai. We're going offline now. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.